What's up everyone, Andre here and you're watching So Games, and it's time for another top 5. The beloved cartoon series Adventure Time came and it's now gone from Fortnite. If you had a chance you could get Finn, Jake, Princess Bubblegum, Marceline, other characters from Adventure Time, and he looked pretty cool. So because of that partnership, I thought it was very fitting to make a top 5 for best cartoons that I think could be best partnerships for Fortnite in the future. And this is going to be a bit of a blast from the past, so let's get to them. In 5th place, I have decided to put the Powerpuff Girls. It's probably going to be very difficult to make skins out of them because they're very tiny and it's just kind of, the way that they're drawn doesn't necessarily fit with the proportions of Fortnite. But I think they could find a solution. They're very creative, and there's other types of skins like the ones where the criminals actually were wearing Powerpuff Girls costumes, and somehow nobody in the series seemed to notice. And they also have the villains. Like him, and I don't remember the names anymore. I know them in a different language. I grew up in a different country, but we got them different skins and different weapons. The crazy monkey genius has different robots that could become, different skins and stuff. There's obviously Townsville, and there's giant monsters that we could become bosses and whatnot. So I think it would be really interesting to have the Powerpuff Girls as the next partnership coming from Fortnite. And they're also a Cartoon Network brand, so I think it's not too far off to see that happening in the future. In 4th place is a cartoon that I have not watched all that much, I must confess, but I've seen, a few episodes here and there. And I think it'd be pretty fitting. I think it fits a little bit of the narrative, the game style on Fortnite. Kim Possible. I think she could have plenty of very decent skins. She is a spy, so she has different gadgets that can become weapons here and there. The series has different villains that could also become skins. And in fact, some people have actually created maps where you can supposedly play as them in, Fortnite Creative, which is a great outlet for people who create things to come that are not necessarily officially yet on Fortnite, but could give you a good idea of what could happen if they tried. Next up in 3rd place, it's another cartoon that I have not watched a ton of, but I've seen also a few clips here and there, and I know it's really, really funny, and it's Phineas and Furb. We can obviously get the genius two kids, their gadgets, they always get in trouble, so, there's plenty of areas to explore in the cartoon. They travel to different places. They have obviously Perry the platypus, which would obviously become a world-renowned skin. I think it would be, 99% of the players who actually can spend money on Fortnite and do spend money on Fortnite would probably get to spend money on Perry the platypus. It also comes as just the platypus as the, the detective thing that he has, the secret agent, or the regular one with his legs like a little bit like to the side like this. I think it'd be really funny. Again, another skin that would be a little bit difficult to accomplish, I think, because of the character's, style. It would be tough to fit them as the size and, the hitboxes and whatnot. I think would be a little bit tough, but I think could be possible. And the villain also is a mad genius who has, different gadgets and giant robots and things that can be used several times. He has his hideout, which could become like a room inside of the main Battle Royale map. So I think the possibilities are pretty endless. And some creators have also made Phineas and Ferb maps on Fortnite Creative, so you can check it out and see what it could look like in the future. I have not played them either yet, but I'll check it out, and you can also check it out and let me know in the comments. Would you like to see Phineas and Ferb? I think it would be pretty cool, even if I haven't watched all that much of the cartoon. In 2nd place is another cartoon that I used to watch a lot as a kid, Dexters Laboratory. Another one that would be pretty difficult to include inside of Fortnite. Dexter would probably need to come in only in his mecha skin, because how else could you possibly make him big enough to fit in this proportions of the map? I guess they could take inspiration from the movie where they made and he goes to the future and he sees himself as a teenager, as an old man. And the adult version of Dexter is pretty badass actually. So I think it would be pretty fitting to have him on Fortnite like that. You also have this secret lab which you would be able to find inside of the Battle Royale. There is Mandrak with his also giant robot. there's plenty of things that you can explore within the realm of Dexter. Even the cartoons that he actually used to watch with, I think it's Van Halen, I'm not sure how they call the guitarist, the League of Justice or something, the knockoff that was inside of Dexter's Laboratory. I think that could be plenty of different options to build within Dexter's Lab. And I'm pretty sure that Dee Dee would be a very interesting Fortnite skin to have and play with. That would have very interesting emotes as well, like her destroying the laboratory, for example. So yeah, I think it's a great next step for Fortnite. Again, it belongs to Cartoon Network, so another one that I think would be pretty easy to make. And in first place, I think for me, it's one of my personal favorites. Also belongs to Cartoon Network. If you haven't realized that, I used to watch a lot of it back in my childhood. And we have Ed Double D, and Eddie. Suburban sensations, classic kids in the cul-de-sac, great imaginations, extremely funny animations, extremely funny episodes and sound design. I think it's a great recipe for Fortnite to include something like that on their game. Especially as some people were actually saying on Reddit, if they had the actual animations from the cartoon, which would be pretty hilarious to see Eddie walking around and like running in their very unique ways. There's even an episode where they're kind of playing a make-believe planet and they just have to kind of scavenge some stuff and just make themselves like weapons and gear so that they can, you know, arm themselves up to fight some sort of aliens or whatever. And I think that already gives some pretty good ideas of items that you can make, you know, on Fortnite, new weapons. Just the neighborhood, just making that cul-de-sac would be extremely iconic. They are decently sized, so I feel like it would be pretty easily to fit them proportionally into the game. So yeah, I think Fortnite has nothing to lose. And in fact, some people have been even asking for a long time, all of these people that I've mentioned here, these cartoons, people have been asking for them already on Reddit. And you know, I guess it's just all the millennial nostalgia like me that wants to see some of our childhood brought back from, you know, the canceled dead, the TV series dead, and back into the mainstream where other people can, you know, have fun with them, and even ourselves, we can live a little bit our childhood again. So Fortnite, you know what to do, so go ahead and do it. Do it. So this was my top 5 wish list for cartoons that I wish would come into Fortnite, just as skins, as places, as secret spots, as weapons, as even just things that they can add into just Fortnite Creative so that we can create with. I think would be super cool. Let me know in the comments whether you have cartoons that I've missed, something that you wish to see that was part of your childhood, or something that you're still watching nowadays that you think is amazing. And it could be adult cartoons as well. It doesn't have to be just children's stuff. So let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.